I did not articulate this earlier, but that leads me to believe that I believe that there are more us than them. And I believe the last election was lost by us rather than the other side winning.
Really?
Because of apathy. Because of that, some people from 2016, from 2020 had that attitude like, well, I'm done. I can't take it anymore. And I think that they believe, for them, whether it was wrong or right, that the choice, whatever they had, that it was not acceptable. They did not like it, whether it was misinformation or whatever it was. So I believe that the folks like us who are on our side, that we lost more than the other side won. And so I think if there's another election, and if there is, this is my hope, that there's enough inspiration to beat the other side, there's more of us that's going to allow it. But then when you see what's on the other side, it's
How do you rebuild a coalition? And I asked that question for this reason. What is the appropriate response that people should have to constituencies that supported or increased their support for Donald Trump and are now suffering because of that?
You're talking about Black people that voted for him?
Not necessarily. Well, that would be too, but there were a lot of Latino people in and around Detroit who were upset about the Palestinian issue, and now it's going to be worse because Trump shared, the AI images of shopping mall basically there. We have Venezuelans in Florida who were very big for Trump, and now he's deporting Venezuelans. We have Cubans who have been in Miami who have been kind of traditionally more conservative, and now, along with the Venezuelans and the Haitians, they're on that list of people who are losing bites. How do we not, there's a knee-jerk Schadenfreude reaction, which is
Gloat.
You
I told you so.
Yeah, but how do you not have that, or is it okay for people to feel that way?
I think it's okay. I mean, look, at some point, if you want the numbers, you have to allow those people in. But I think that that there's a certain reality that one has to admit to.
Right.
A lot of this is your fault. You contributed to what is happening now, and now you have to stew in your own juices, right? To borrow a cliche. And so I think it's okay because it's true. And the truth, as I always say, the truth is often insulting.
Listen, I accept that, agree with that. I have one caveat to that, though.
None.
Which is, not even gloating, but accepting or finding even a smidgen of joy, or not even joy, but satisfaction in the suffering of another human being destroys a bit of you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see my people have their moral authority compromised. I see what's happening to them who support Trump and how their moral authority has, if they ever had any, it is shattered to the ground. I don't want the same fate for us.
But are they your people?
Who?
You say, I don't want to see.
I'm talking about Black people. When I say
Black
people, I mean Black people.
All skin folk ain't kinfolk.
No, I understand it, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, I don't want. It is tempting to find satisfaction in being right on the right side of this moment and saying we voted in the right way overwhelmingly, and more of you did not, and now that's coming back to bite you. I don't want to find satisfaction.
I don't find satisfaction.
I don't want to find any satisfaction yet. No suffering. I don't. It is true, but I feel like it gives away a bit of me on a soul level.
Yeah.
If I allow myself.
I agree with you, but for me, it's almost like a parent-child relationship. Like the parent says, "I told you if you did that, what the outcome would be. And so now you see that. So next time, perhaps you should conduct yourself or make a different choice. I see it that way. And it's not gloating, it's not finding satisfaction. It's just I think that you have to give people a reality check. And they have to accept that what they did was wrong. And then, but I believe you can move on. But there has to be an acknowledgement that, okay, we screwed up. I don't, when you talk about people voting callously, I believe that was a callous vote, because I believe they voted against their own interests. And the thing that I find about liberals that's always disheartening for me is that they tend to shout down or shoot their allies. And so the person in the White House, the next person in the White House, who's going to be better for you? Is it the protest vote that you're going to protest because you don't whatever you, or is it the actual person who you can find who's going to get you to the closest outcome that you want?
Do you believe, do you follow into the logic that Democrats were somehow too woke in this election and that was a problem?
That's a tough one for me because,
You do?
I don't believe in, look, I know that the term woke has been co-opted to mean something else. It's a pejorative, right? And it wasn't meant, and it shouldn't be a pejorative. But I do think that there is, that we have a certain purity test about people. We have a purity test. I mean, liberal. I'm not a Democrat, but I mean people who are liberals, or people who have a more liberal sort of view of the world in general. I believe that, that liberals have this purity test about people, especially politicians, that one must be perfect, right? And if you don't 100% agree with me, then I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to vote for you, or I'm going to do something else. When conservatives, they don't do that. They fall in line. Look at who is in office right now. Look at who's running the Department of Defense. Look who is the National Security Advisor. Look who's the Director of National Intelligence. Look at all of these very flawed people who are in positions of power and who are running the country right now. And I believe if Democrats had sort of followed that model, we would be in a different place now.
But it comes down to very specific things, right? So the postpartum research, the postmortem research, not postpartum, the postmortem research on the election shows that the anti-trans advertising was incredibly tested.
Yeah.
And there are liberals who make the art like this shouldn't have been the hill we died on. But I have a hard time with that, because just because it's effective doesn't mean that I don't see people bullying the smallest kid on the playground. I mean, like, this is a tiny group of people. None of what they were saying.
But who's going to protect that group of people?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So there's a principle here. Either you're going to stand up and protect this population, or you're going to say it's such an effective line against us that we can't do it. And that's a decision.
I don't think it's such an effective line against us that we can't protect the population. I think it's all in messaging. The whole point of politics in an election is to win. And so I remember when same-sex marriage was on the ballot. As gay men, I think gay men realized where they were in the messaging. Sometimes it was top of mind, sometimes it wasn't. Most of the time it wasn't, right? And that it wasn't an issue then. I think that you have to, read the room and understand what is the best messaging. And I think it's also for the people who may be in that group to understand what is happening in the moment. And so I don't believe that it was the best messaging. I think that in many ways that Democrats gave their opponents something to fight against. It sort of handed them the ammunition, so to speak. But it was a tough place to be in because Democrats want to protect transgender people, right? And by the way, most of those policies was a Trump era policies, but they were just better. They were able to better message the whole thing.
So if the Republican line is Democrats don't know the difference between a man and a woman, what's the retort to that.
The Democrats don't know the difference between a man and a woman.
That ran all over.
Yeah, it was what is a woman? What is a
party that doesn't know the difference between a man and a woman? And that was an anti-trans ad that said the Democrats believe that men could be women and men could have babies.
In the moment, I don't know. At the moment, I would say it's obvious that Democrats know the difference between a man and a woman, but Democrats also know the difference between being human, treating people with a certain degree of dignity and humanity, and understanding that we should not be using the least of these to message politically.
It is the bullying for me.
Yeah,